Hello everyone. So in our heat transfer lecture series, today we are going to see the heat conduction equation. Okay. So here in the heat transfer, generally we know that the heat transfer is depend upon the temperature. That means temperature and heat transfer are closely related with each other. But here temperature is one quantity and heat transfer is another quantity. So if you see about the temperature is, if you define the temperature, it is a degree of hotness or the coldness. So that means it will show only the magnitude. Okay, there is no direction for the temperature, so that why temperature has only magnitude, it is a scalar quantity. But heat transfer has a direction as well as magnitude. It is a vector quantity, because if you see the example here, so we have given the example of the hot baked potato. Okay, hot baked potato. So if you see here, the surface temperature we have shown, it is 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, and if you see the central temperature, we know that it is a hot potato. That means its center temperature is so much higher than the surface temperature, or we can say it is a generally same one. But if you see about the heat transfer, then what will happen if you place this hot baked potato from the oven to the atmosphere, keeping open to the atmosphere, then obviously the heat transfer takes place in from potato to the atmosphere. So that's why, so if you see here, the 80 watt per meter square, the heat transfer will be takes place from baked potato to the atmosphere. That means if you see here, temperature we have shown only the magnitude 50 degrees Celsius. That's why it is a scalar quantity. But heat transfer have magnitude 80 watt per meter square, but it has a direction is from the hot baked potato to the atmosphere. Okay, now again we have seen here, we have given the another example of a wall. Okay, wall is hot or medium. One side of the wall is hot medium and another side is cold medium. And if you see here, in positive x direction heat transfer takes place, and that heat transfer we have measured is Q is equal to 500 watt. So that means if the heat transfer takes place from the body to the surrounding, it is considered as a positive one. Okay, so this is positive. But if to the system, that means from the surrounding to the system, if you supply the heat transfer, it is considered as a negative. So same again we have the hot medium, in positive x direction heat transfer takes place in opposite to the positive x. So that's why we have shown here the minus 100. Okay, so this is about the difference between the temperature and heat transfer. So generally heat transfer takes place is depend upon the temperature difference. Temperature is scalar quantity, heat transfer is a vector quantity. So it has both magnitude and the direction. Now next, the driving force of any form of heat transfer is temperature difference. We have already told that if temperature difference will be occur, heat transfer takes place. Okay, the larger the temperature difference, the larger the rate of heat transfer. As during the Fourier law of heat conduction equation, we have seen if temperature difference goes on increasing, the heat transfer goes on increasing. That means heat transfer rate is directly proportional to the temperature difference. Is temperature difference increasing, obviously heat transfer is goes on increasing. See, so generalize in if you see in day-to-day life, there are the number of parts facing the heat transfer concepts. So to analyze this problem or to find out the amount of heat transfer from these parts, so we will convert this part into simple forms. So first we have seen, to find out the heat transfer rate, we will see the coordinate system, and first coordinate system is a rectangular coordinate system. So rectangular coordinate system we have used the here the x, y and z directions, and that means temperature is the function of the temperature of the function of x, y, z and t. That means temperature is varying in x direction, temperature varying in y direction, and temperature varying in z direction, and also it is varying according to the time. So this is a rectangular quantity. So similarly, there is a cylindrical coordinate system. In the cylindrical coordinate system, the dimensions are radial direction r, then angular direction phi, and vertical height of the cylinder direction is z, and again the time t. Okay, So this is about the cylindrical coordinate system. And next is the spherical coordinate system. That's why here, so here again the temperature is varying in 3 dimensions, just like real direction r, angular direction phi, then another angular direction is theta, and again time t. So that means there are the three simplified coordinate system. The first one is rectangular, then cylindrical and spherical coordinate system. By using this one, we will analyze the problems. Now next one, there are here are one concept is that steady versus transient heat transfer. So steady heat transfer and transient heat transfer. So what is steady heat transfer? So steady heat transfer means there is no change in the heat transfer according to the time. Okay, so if you see here, we have the given example of a steady. So what we have given one wall. It has one side temperature 15 degrees Celsius and other side temperature is 7 degrees Celsius. And if you see, if you measure the heat transfer rate or temperatures during the 2 p.m. time, and if you find out the heat transfer rate is Q1 with the same temperature, and after some time, that means after same wall, if you measure the temperatures of a same wall and there is no change into the temperature of this wall, that means heat transfer rate is same as the previous one. So that means during time change there is no change occur during in the times, then heat transfer rate is called as steady heat transfer. Okay, so in other side, if you see about the transient heat transfer, so transient implies variation with time or the time dependence. So that means in the temperature of the wall changing according to the time, then the whatever heat transfer takes place, it is considered as a transient heat transfer. Okay, so what we have again given the same wall at the first 2 p.m. we have measured temperature of wall as 15 degrees Celsius and 7 degrees Celsius. So heat transfer is Q1, but at 5 p.m. if the temperature goes on changing, that means 15 degrees is changed to the 12 degrees Celsius and 7 degrees Celsius changed to 5 degrees Celsius. That means according to the time the temperature of the wall is going to change. That means heat transfer rate now Q2 dot is not equal to Q1 dot. So this one. So this is called as the transient heat transfer. Okay. So in special cases, case of variation with the time but not with the position, the temperature of the medium changes uniformly with the time, such heat transfer systems are called as lump system. So that means if temperature is changing with the time, not with the position. So suppose we have taken the example of the hot potato. Okay, suppose this is a hot potato and its temperature, if we say its center temperature is 80 degrees Celsius and surface temperature is again 80 degrees Celsius. But after, if you measure, this is at some time, so say it is 1 second, if it is 80 degrees Celsius, and after some time, that means it is 1 minute or 2 minute, if the temperatures are changing but not changing according to position, that means there is no difference between center temperature and the surface temperature. If it is the same, then it is only varying according to time. That means if after 1 minute or 2 minutes its temperature goes on decreasing, then we will consider it is a lump system. That means temperature is changing according to the time, not with the position, then it is considered as a lump system. Okay. Now again there are the three types of the heat transfer. So according to the direction there are the types. So first one is one dimensional heat transfer, two dimensional heat transfer and three dimensional heat transfer. Generally there is heat transfer is occur in three dimensional. Okay, so generally heat transfer occurs in three dimensional way, but some of the cases it must be in one dimensional or two dimensional. So we will see about the one dimensional. If the temperature in the medium varies in one direction only and thus heat is transferred in one direction, and the variation of temperature and thus heat transfer in other directions are negligible or zero, it is considered as a one dimensional. So generally in one dimensional heat transfer, temperature of the body changing in one direction only, and there is no change in temperature in other direction. So just we take an example of xyz of any block, and temperature is changing only in x direction, not in y and z direction, then you will consider heat transfer is only in one dimensional. So similarly about the two dimensional, so if temperature in the medium in some cases varies mainly in two primary direction, and the variation of temperature in the third direction is negligible, then we consider it is two dimensional heat transfer. So for that we have the example here. Okay, so first if you say about the a long rectangular bar, it has area perpendicular to the z direction is very negligible as compared to the in x and y directional, then heat transfer takes place from this bar is considered as two dimensional. And second example we have, if you consider a window and heat transfer takes place from the window, if you see here thickness of this window is very much small, and if you see in other direction, just we say in vertical direction area is so much high, and horizontal direction is also high. So as compared to these two directions, the third direction, the thickness of wall, it's very much negligible, so that's why heat transfer takes place in only the thickness of the wall, through the thickness of wall. So that's why it is a one dimensional heat transfer. Now generally rate of the heat transfer we have measured by using the Fourier law of heat conduction. We have already studied. So Fourier law of heat conduction, so heat transfer rate is directly proportional to the cross sectional area, temperature difference, and inversely proportional to the thickness of wall. Okay, so based on that, if you see here in the diagram, so here we have given the positive x direction, and the temperature of the wall will be changing from higher value to the lower value. Okay, so for that, if you see here, if you plot the graph for that, so if you see in here the graph, the slope of that graph is dt by dx, that means temperature varying according to the direction x, it is a negative one. Okay, but in this direction heat transfer rate is positive, it is greater than the value of 0. So that's why if you see here, so this equation is called as Fourier law of heat conduction. So it is q dot conduction is equal to minus Ka dt by dx. Here K is the thermal conductivity of the medium, A is cross sectional area, dt by dx is the slope of this graph. Okay, slope of the graph. And if you see here, slope is negative 1, slope is negative, but heat transfer is positive. Okay, so if you see the slope is available, that means temperature varying in x direction is negative, it is changing from higher value to the lower value. So that's why it is, this slope is negative. But if heat transfer is always positive quantity, heat transfer is always positive quantity, so that's why the equation, to convert this equation from minus slope to the positive value, there is a minus sign given. So the minus sign indicates that heat transfer takes place in positive x direction with a negative temperature difference. Okay, so that's why there is a negative sign, but that negative sign indicates the heat transfer is positive. Okay, when there is a slope is given dt by dx, temperature difference, and dx is given dt by dx. Okay, now if you see suppose we have given a block, and in the block we need to find out the heat transfer in, if we need to find out the heat transfer in n direction. So to convert that in direction, we will convert this n direction into three dimensions. The first one is x direction, then y direction, and z direction. After converting this heat transfer in three dimensions, we will find out the heat transfer rate. So generally we know that the Fourier law of heat conduction as in any direction q dot n, that means n indicates the n direction, is equal to minus ka. A is the area is perpendicular to the n direction, da by t by da by n. So what is da by t by da by n? That means the temperature changing according to the n direction. Okay, so to find out that, we have convert this heat transfer into the three different directions, that means q dot x, q dot y and q dot z, and we will multiply this with the unit vector in particular direction, say I vector in x direction, j vector in y direction and k vector in z direction. So by using this one, if you find out the separately heat transfer rate in x direction as q dot x is equal to minus k ax da by t by da by x, so where ax is the cross sectional area perpendicular to the x direction. Okay, and da by t by da by x means temperature changing in the x direction. Then similarly in q dot y, that means heat transfer rate in y direction is equal to minus ky. So KAY, so AY means the area perpendicular to the y direction, and da by t by da by y, that means temperature changing in the y direction. So similarly here q dot z is equal to minus KAZ. AZ means the area in a perpendicular to the z direction, and here da by t by da by z, that means temperature changing according to the z direction. So if you add this one, if you add these three values q dot x, q dot y and q dot y, multiply with unit vectors, we will find out the heat transfer rate in n direction. Okay, so why? Because we have converted this n direction, or we resolve this n direction into three dimensions. Okay, now next is heat generation. Okay, so to find out the heat generation, generally we will see the examples. By using this, we will understand the heat generation. So first example is electrical energy being converted to heat at a rate of I square R. So current square multiply with resistance. Okay, then next is fuel element of a nuclear reactor. That means then in the nuclear reactor, fuel element, due to the nuclear reactions, heat will be generated. Then exothermic chemical reaction, if you consider any reaction, and if by mixing these two or three chemicals, then what will happens, the heat will be generated. So that is the best examples of the heat generation. So heat generation is a volumetric phenomenon. The rate of heat generation units is watt per meter cube, or British thermal unit per hour per foot cube. The rate of heat generation in a medium may vary with time as well as position within the medium. Okay, so this is depend upon the time also and the position also. Okay, so for that we have given example. Heat is generated in the heating coils of an electric range as a result of conversion of electrical energy into heat. Okay, so just coil, after supplying the current to the coil, the heat will be generated. That means current will be converted, electrical energy will be converted into heat energy. So this is called as the heat generation. Okay, then next example is that absorption of solar radiation by water can be treated as heat generation. So generally in the water there is no heat generation, but due to the solar radiation absorption, the heat will be generated. So if you consider water as a system, then the solar radiation will becomes into this water, that absorption it is considered as a heat generation. And the formula, if you see here, capital E dot generation is equal to integration over the volume, small e dot generation multiply with dV. So here, so small e dot generation, that means the energy generation per unit volume multiply with volume dV. So that's why here E dot generation, capital E dot generation is equal to E small e dot generation multiply with volume. So that means we have multiple integrate the small e dot generation over the volume. So that's why we have this equation. Okay, so the heat generation is generally, if you consider any body, and in that body heat will be produced without transfer of heat from the surrounding mediums, then it is considered as a heat generation. Okay, next. Okay, thank you. So we will stop here and we'll see at next lectures.